Hello and welcome to another episode of Fiscal Fridays. Starting tomorrow, the state of Idaho is expected to spend $12.7 million of your money to supposedly fix the doctor shortage. Now, it's no secret that the government has a spending problem, but it is especially prominent on issues where the government is the problem. Seems to be the case here with our physician shortage and the government's attempts to correct it. Idahoans are paying for problems that naturally come from government overregulation of how we get doctors into our state, namely through the medical residency program. Here, we see the problem is complex by design. Medical residencies are an artificial barrier to creating more doctors. To fix the problem, lawmakers are told that they need to, quote, invest more of your money into the big medical education institutions and their partners. In actuality, the solution is actually quite simple. Provide alternatives to the systemically limited residency process. The challenge with medical residencies is that there are more graduates from medical school than there are residencies they can match with. After completing 4 years of medical school, students must enter a medical residency that lasts 3 to 7 years depending on their area of focus. To become licensed as a general practitioner, they only need to complete about 1 year of the program. Every year, thousands of quality medical graduates leave medical school only to be shut out of the healthcare industry entirely because there is no place for them to go. This is rarely a commentary on their quality as a prospective physician. Rather, it is because they did not match with the characteristics and needs of a program quite as well as the other candidates. The problem here is that there is nowhere for them to go once they are rejected. This creates a compounding pool of applicants competing for the same residency spots. The reason why there are limits on residency spots in the first place dates back to the 1960s, when the federal government established the Medicare program. Before that, graduate medical education was accomplished via a variety of ways, including apprenticeship programs in the private sector. Subsidizing residencies made it the preferred method for physician training and made institutions dependent on the government to host residents. When Congress passed the Balanced Budget Act in 1997, this froze the number of federally subsidized residencies to 1996 levels. In response, states started to foot the bill to address the ensuing doctor shortages. Idaho is currently midway through a 12-year plan to expand the number of residencies in the state. Spending on the program is slowly building up to $20 million by 2030. This would be a four-fold increase in spending compared to when the plan began in 2017. This is expected to produce about 1,500 new doctors within the 12-year span. This sounds like a program that would work on paper, but in actuality, it's not working so well. In 2017, projections noted that Idaho would be short 1,700 physicians by 2030. The state plan appears to get us close to that number, but actually falls woefully short once you see that only about 55% of these new doctors are expected to stay in the gem state. This comes at a cost to taxpayers too. Idahoans are spending about $70,000 per resident per year. But this cost goes up to $128,000 for each resident that actually becomes an Idaho doctor. The nature of centrally planning the physician workforce also fails to provide doctors where they're needed. In fact, 96% of all these new residencies will be located in one of Idaho's 10 most populated communities. 60% of these residencies will be in the Treasure Valley, a place where there is not a physician shortage at the moment. In short, residencies are costly and fail to serve Idaho's most needed communities. So why are we paying for this? The solution is actually simple. We need to produce new doctors outside of residencies, not through them. This year, the legislature passed a law that would provide provisional licensure for med school graduates who could not land residency positions. Under this program, a med school graduate will contract with a fully licensed physician to study under them in a manner similar to an apprenticeship. But this new policy would not produce any more doctors than we are currently getting. The problem is that the license is not renewable and still requires the candidate to go through the residency to be fully licensed. The solution here would be to create a way for provisionally licensed physicians to become fully licensed without having to go through a residency. This will expand pathways for new physicians and put doctors where they're needed. In doing this, legislators need to resist the temptation from the medical establishment to subsidize these provisional licensure programs. This will create the same problem we have now, just with a new form. It will limit its utility and invite the same cronyism we already have to manage the traditional residency program. To summarize, we see that the problem with our doctor shortage is rooted in government dependency. Subsidies from the state or the federal government stunts the free market and prevents it from being able to respond to demand. The only way to produce a new, cost-effective, and free system to procure Idaho's physician doctors would be to provide an alternative. In the end, we can expect a freer and healthier Idaho if we pursue these principles. If you enjoyed this show, please like this video and subscribe to this channel to keep Idaho Freedom content in your newsfeed. Thank you for watching, everybody, and if you would like to see more episodes of Fiscal Fridays or other great content from the Idaho Freedom Foundation, please visit idahofreedom.org.